Yeah. Good afternoon. Good morning. Hello. Happy Monday.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, it's morning here.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
I know it's morning there. We are just past noon. So we are now afternoon. It is a rainy morning or a rainy day here, though. It is,
Same here.
ah, I've been
That's
outside.
weird.
I tried to wear my hair like this so it would look halfway decent today without it being all over the place. But I've been outside twice and just got like drizzled on. It's just enough to be annoying. It's enough to mess your hair up. And
Once it gets drizzled, it just buzz. That's what happens to me.
I add this curl in my hair, but I naturally have like stick straight hair. So it's a blessing
Oh,
that I have this much curl left in it. Hmm. Did everybody have a good Mother's Day?
yes.
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 My
It was fantastic.
music in my office just turned off right before this call. And I told it to play some of this electronic music I like. And it started playing, If You're Happy and You Know It, Clap Your Hands. And I was like, Of course. I was like, maybe that's what I really needed to hear today. It just made me giggle. I'll give everybody another minute or so to get on. If you would just share how have you won in the last week? Did you take any new listings? Schedule any listing appointments? Or maybe you just enjoyed your Mother's Day and that was a win too. But share your wins. Either you can say it out loud or post it. I want to hear how you're winning.
I took a listing last week, and I know that the Lord puts us in front of people for a reason.
Yes.
And these people don't have any money. I'm like, well, let's just go ahead and I'll pay for it up front, and you can reimburse me later. It was a good experience because I could see the shift in them. It was like day and night. They're like, okay, they got some excitement. They're like, oh my gosh, somebody is walking alongside of us and helping us. And so it's only $224,000 listing, but
Yeah.
it's just so much joy that I see, and
Mm.
the reward for them also. So that was my big win, and I organized my pantry yesterday.
I was going to say the beautiful thing about that is, Tracy, is you've deposited such a good seed and brought a family so much joy. Like
Hmm.
sometimes those are more meaningful than $1 million house
By far.
when you can
Yes.
really like change and impact somebody's life intentionally on purpose.
Yeah.
I would love to sprinkle millions of seeds like that every week versus
Hmm.
other seeds that just are not going to reap a good fruit. Nisha said one condo listing in Ontario. I'm not even going to try to pronounce what that city is.
It's Mississauga, Ontario.
Oh,
You're like
beautiful.
30 minutes from Toronto. So
I love
basically,
that.
Greater
So you're
Toronto
in
area.
Canada. Amazing.
Yep, I'm going to change my name here so it says where I'm from.
That
And
is
it's
a
my
great
first session
idea.
with you today. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Awesome.
We have lots of Canadians that come here and stay in our Airbnbs.
Oh, yeah. Where about it are
It's
you
the
guys?
thing.
It's my first session with you.
I'm in North Carolina, but on
Oh,
the
nice.
North Carolina coast, it is like an influx. We have an Airbnb at Ocean Isle, and we have like two Canadian families that come year after year after year.
Awesome.
Yeah, you
You got
guys take
beautiful
over our
weather
coast.
there, right?
Yeah, beautiful weather. Yes.
But today we are prouder than that. We have a sunny day here.
Yeah, you have a sunny day. We have a drizzly, and honestly, I believe our weather's like rain like this all week, which we need it. I'm not here to say we don't need it, but luckily I have an office day the rest of the day. I can get a lot of stuff done on a rainy day in the office, so I'm grateful for that. Anybody else share your wins over the last week? Did you take any new listings? Any beautiful listing stories? Or did you just enjoy your Mother's Day? All of those are wins. Anybody? I have a sweet, sweet, sweet family. The lady's 77. Her sons are moving her to Texas She just found out she was a nurse her whole life. She skipped her last colonoscopy and she just found out she has stage 4 cancer that started in her colon and now is in her cells. And her two boys are moving her to Texas for treatment. And I just thought, how big, and she's so joyful. And I just thought, how big of a blessing is it to have two boys that are willing to like stop their life, get jobs, and move to Texas just to help her? She signed everything in person. And the last thing we did was just like prayed over her before she goes on to Texas. And it was just such, I think if you're called and you're longing to serve, I think it's an amazing position that we can put ourselves in to truly love and pray with people and help people where they're at, because we can sometimes be the integral part that gets them to where they want to go. So that was like a super heartfelt listing appointment I had last week. And I just said, I don't know too many adult men that would take their mother cross country to help find her treatment. I said, what a blessing this is. And she's just so peaceful. That like grounds you, that no matter like how hard, how stressful life is, that we're all very blessed. If you have your health, you have everything. And it's good for us in our busy lives to have like realignment like that at some points. We have several new people on today. Hello, Megan, Tammy. Hello, Tracy. Welcome. We are going to dive in. We're going to get started. This week is all about the actual market analysis. And I want to say I was well into my career before I learned like people really were not watching my or were not understanding my market analysis at a high level. And I was sending them this huge packet of information, truly just expecting them to read it, to understand it, honestly, to dissect it, and then to interpret it in a way that they felt like I was leading them with confidence and giving them the correct value for their home. So it was, I want to say I need to really go back and look, 2021, 2022. I went from doing these huge market analysis templates, sheets of paper, an hour to 2 hours to complete for my clients, to shifting over more to doing a video market analysis. So I'm going to review that with you today, review what the presentation of that video market analysis looks like, the presentation of our net sheet, and then just wrap it all up and allow you guys to ask any questions you have. And I would really love to know, like, if you're doing something different and you see that it's working, what is it you're doing? And let's talk out loud. So we're going to go through, what does the video CMA look like? Maybe some of the why behind it. What does the email template look like? And when we've buttoned up the video CMA, how do we present it in a way that they feel like they've gathered all the information, they're not missing any details that would have been in that huge CMA presentation, and they feel confident moving forward, which has also helped us streamline our process. And then what's the seller net sheet look like? So I just want us all to come off mute and say, how are you currently presenting your market value to your sellers? Are you using video? Are you using your MLS template? Do you have your own template? What does it look like? And you can feel free to put it in chat if you don't want to come off mute.
I do a presentation. I actually have a whole checklist that I go through. I present the net sheet, and excuse me, let me back up. I have the listing presentation in a Canva slideshow. Okay. So I bring my iPad and I scroll through it. And what I do before that is I send them an email, a pre-listing presentation, so they can read more in depth about what we are, who we are, how our process works. And then when I get there, I kind of recap that slideshow in a shorter version. Mm-hmm. And then, checking in, does that sound good? Yes, we'll move on to the next step, which is I place a net sheet in front of them and I say, if I can get you this amount of money at the close of escrow with everything paid, are you willing to move forward? Mm-hmm. Or does that look good to you? And it's either a yes or they hesitate. So I always bring 3 different net sheets to kind of get an idea of where they're at. And I always start with the lowest one. And then if they're like, yeah, and I said, well, what if we can get you here? And what if we, you kind of read the people. Maybe you start with the higher once I've read them. But I always bring at least 3 different net sheet so I can show them the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then I show them with the buyer's agent's compensation, without, with a 2.5 or 2% with them, um, always.
So, from my understanding, you send out like a pre-listing questionnaire. You then, at first point of initial contact, after you've looked at their home, you go through your Canva listing market analysis with them and then dive
Yeah.
into the net sheet at that initial appointment. And by the time you leave that appointment, you have the listing.
Yes.
Perfect. I
I
love
always come prepared with a contract, whether it's on my computer. I'm like, okay, are you ready to sign the contract? And then that's part of my checklist.
it. Mm-hmm.
And if they say yes, then we move forward.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Good job, Miss Tracy. Anybody else? What do you guys do? Do you do
Can I
the
go ahead?
full? Go ahead.
Yeah, so well, I have something similar to Tracy. It's on Canva,
Uh-huh.
but I haven't listed many homes. I'm more of a bar agent, so I'm just transitioning into listing. I
Mm-hmm.
have some slides from our team that we use for numbers for now, and the questionnaire is something that I send in advance and go over it with some of my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever we're meeting for the listing presentation, I'll go over the team's presentation and tell them that what we have done in this area and what we can achieve with their listing.
Okay, I love that. Well, I will. Okay, mine is through email. I'm very focused on connecting in person. Yep, to build a solid trust, and then an email recap of everything I talked about. And I do a little presentation. I most times have already sold them before they meet due to my social. Yes, I think the beautiful thing is, and it's a blessing. We've all started out as new agents, but as you build your brand and build your trust, you hopefully shouldn't be competing in listing appointments anymore. And it can allow you to breathe a little bit more. And it allows you just to like take the time, like Kara said, and really connect with the people, figure out why it is they're moving, develop that sense of trust. So you're not having to like close them on the first deal. There are some that I go into that I know I have to be 1,000% prepared because I'm up against other agents and I'm bringing my all. But the ones that I know are referred to me, I know they're already going to use me. This is what I do. I'm going to do this exact same thing and I'm going to prepare this exact same thing. And if I know I'm going in there for like the kill, but most situations now, because my business is a little bit more established, I don't feel that way and I don't have to um, be as pressured. But I know some of you are in markets where it's very cutthroat. You're up against a lot of competition, and most of the times they're interviewing multiple agents. If I know I'm walking into a situation and they're telling me I'm interviewing multiple agents, I don't leave any card left unturned and I bring it all, just like Tracy and Nisha said, to that listing appointment, ready to go, locked and loaded by the end. Um, if I know that that's going to be the game I'm walking into, I'm going to be prepared. So tools we use to prepare, we use Loom. A lot of people always ask me, what system do you use? I use Loom to record my market analysis. The reason why I do is because you can see when they've actually viewed it. And that's the most beautiful thing, is actually seeing when they've viewed it and knowing when to follow up. But usually once they've viewed it, I would say within an hour, I usually get some sort of response back. Value looks good. Let's list at this price and move on. And know that I've streamlined my process over time because time is everything. I don't have the time to do 1 to 2 hour market analysis anymore. I have about 30 minutes in my calendar to do a market analysis for every single listing I go on. Otherwise, it takes away time from either lead genning, leading, or going on other appointments that I need to level my business up. So I think at times in your business, you have to sit down and ask yourself, is your current process going to get you to your next level of goals? And if the answer is no, you need to be walking into rooms and networking with people that are operating at the next level up so you know how to streamline your business. Because what you did to sell maybe 10 listings a year is not going to be what you need to do to sell 10 listings a month. It's not possible. You're going to have to scale your business up and learn how to streamline yourself. So my really regimen of doing this allows me to list 10 to 15 to 20 houses a month and or go on 3 to maybe 6 or 7 listing appointments a week. This is a system that I can use that I can keep up with that pace. But also it has, what I've learned from this, it allows me to be a lot more efficient in delivering the value to the clients, and they feel like they understand the market more. Because you're going to see, I'm going to let you watch one of my market analysis I recently did for a listing I have coming. You're going to see that I don't just review sold comps. I review what's on the market, and I sort of talk to them about how are they stacking up against their competition currently. So we're going to dive into it. This is about 8 minutes long. I'm going to let you guys watch this and then we're going to keep moving to duplicate it. And what is the market really saying? So let's chat back up. Okay. Hello, Carla and Larry. I am in Cabo right now at a work conference and my husband's inside making his business call. So I stepped out here on the patio. Have been working on market analysis for a couple of days now. Since we met, did some adjustments based upon what I found, and I wanted to review those with you. And then I'm going to give you my suggested list price. And then also I've included a seller net sheet that would show you based on the above market list price, the at market list price, and below market list price, where I feel like you would land. So let's first review your comps. So I found 3. There is not another house super similar to yours that is sold recently. So we're either sacrificing on acreage with these comps, condition, given that yours, shows so amazing, and then outdoor living space. So I've adjusted all of these based upon yours being superior to any of these. So don't be frightened by what these sold for. We're going to make huge adjustments. So let's first dive into the first comp that I found. This one is on Traders Drive, just off of Belmont, Mount Herman Road. It was a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath home situated on 11 acres, only 2,410 square feet. So it's about 700 square feet smaller than yours. It listed at $850. It went into multiple offers, and actually one of our buyers got it. It sold for $876. This just closed late 2024. So back in October is when it closed. Super cute home. You'll see that it is mostly all brick, wraparound front porch, side entry garage. Shows very well. It was built in 2018. Higher elevated light fixtures, great kitchen, quartz countertops, lots of character, farmhouse sink, nice little breakfast nook with built-ins, super cute laundry room. Here's the owner's suite, a double walk-in closets, freestanding tub, double vanities, and a walk-in tile shower. Guest bedroom that they use as an office, another guest bedroom, an actual office. Guest bathrooms are nice. Great back porch, screened in, nice dining area, fireplace on the back porch. Did have an in-ground pool and a small little storage building, really, but for pool house. Great outdoor area. Lacks a little bit of a wow factor. I think it's beautiful, very functional. And then they did have this little pasture area with a small little horse barn that came with it as well. And then another little run-in barn. So that's comp number 1. If I were looking at that home, I adjusted it based upon really just you having an elevated finish level, you having more square footage, and then an adjustment for the acreage as well. So taking all those things into consideration, this house would actually have your house come in at 1.25. This next one is on McPherson Clay Road. This was a listing that we had. It was 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, situated on 11.36 acres on a small little lake just off of Highway 61. It listed at $1 million. We closed it at $940,000. It did need some updating. Everything was all original to when the house was built. Great, well-built house, but it could have used some updating. You see the kitchen's dated. Nice sunroom. The owner's suite bathroom they had just updated. A nice crown molding throughout. They actually just put down these floors. Built-in closets. Guest bathroom was actually updated recently. Beautiful views. Lacked outdoor living space. Lacked an updated kitchen. The roof was older. The HVAC we actually replaced during the inspection. Did have an upstairs bonus room, just this plain little back patio. And then it did have a nice detached storage building as well. So looking at that home, I'm going to adjust it based upon square footage, based upon yours being updated and that one not, and then just yours having an additional building where this one doesn't. And this house is going to bring yours to 1.125 as well. And then the last one is this new construction on Jacks Creek. And the reason why I use this is because it did have elevated finishes. Yes, it is vinyl siding. I'm adjusting for that. I know the building materials you have used are far superior. But I would say design-wise on the inside, I had higher end LVP floors, nicer doors, wood beam ceilings, kitchen brand new with quartzite countertops, new stainless steel appliances, nice big laundry room, owner's suite, Nice tile shower and freestanding tub. Nice, beautiful back covered porch. So taking a look at this one, I'm adjusting it based upon the square footage difference, the acreage difference, and then yours having that amazing outdoor living space. And when I use this one, which is newer than the other ones, it's going to push your price to close to 1.3. So I'm going to give you 3 list price. I would say above market is 1.3 and above. At market's 1.25 to 1.3, and then below market's anything below 1.125. So it really comes down to how quickly do you want to sell, how aggressive do you want to be. I also wanted to just show you essentially currently in today's marketplace, when you go over $1 million in our area, I'm going to cut Alamance County. I just want to show you what's on the market. So there's only 5. There's this one on Lockshire Drive, which is in Waterford. Very unique, stylized 2-story house. It actually backs up to where you can see Lowe's Foods. But that one's 1.395, but it's a bigger house, 6,300 square feet. We have this one on Pleasant Drive in Mebane. It's listed at 1.4. It is a little bit larger. It's 4,200 square feet, situated on 3.72 acres. Good curb appeal. You notice when you go inside, it's very outdated. Everything's all original, unique wall colorings. So there's that home. There's this one on Pineway, which is the Crenshaw house that we have listed. We've already had 3 showings on this home. We actually sold it off market before, but the buyers had to back out. So we just put it on market, but it's at 1.485, 6,400 square feet, situated on 1 acre. Beautiful update, stunning kitchen, quartz countertops, updated light fixtures throughout. They refinished the hardwoods. Very traditional layout. They added on a new owner suite, which I'll show you here in a minute. There's the laundry room. There's the living room, very simple. And the owner suite they added on with a vaulted ceiling. They had his and her walk-in closets, updated bathroom. Great house. There's this next one on Cobb Farm Trail. This is a farmhouse listed on 97 acres at 1.7. So somebody's got to want 100 acres. So that is a newer farmhouse that was just listed. And then this last one is on Snow Camp Road, the Murray House. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it is like you're going through a field to get there. Like they need to redo the driveway. It's a great house, situated again on 82 acres at 1.8. Very southern living, all blues. Great house. You just have to want to live on that much land. So there's nothing really out there similar to yours. 10 acres is very manageable for most people. You're a great size. If somebody wanted to finish the upstairs bonus room, they could. You have fabulous outdoor living space. I know you know that. Beautiful screen porch, covered porch, the pool, everything. And then you just have elevated finishes. So I'm giving you a realistic price of what I feel like would get the home sold in today's market. I feel like 1.3. If we don't see the activity we want, we can adjust it down. 1.25, I think is a great price. So I would try to be 1.25 to 1.3. And I think we can get you sold at that price. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm here to work with you. Okay. Do you have any feedback? Do you feel like that gives somebody a much better perspective than just sending them like the market analysis on paper? Or it really gives you, honestly, like you've presented it to them in person, and it gives them a more well-rounded, what I would say, perception of this is what's sold, but also this is what you're up against, because it matters. And you all know, if you're producing at a high level, that our markets are shifting almost by the month right now. And every area is a little bit different. So it allows me to like chime in and tell them a little bit about the market versus them just reading out on a presentation what the value of their home is, expecting them to like dissect all this. What this has done for me is that it's allowed me to do more listings in a lot less time, but also lead my sellers with a lot more confidence. They usually just like message me instantly or text me like, I'm ready to go. Let's list it. Like these people said within 30 minutes, I'm ready to list at 1.25. Like that's what it's done. It's kept people from like coming back and forth with me because I feel like I've shown them versus just told them on a sheet of paper what the value of their home is. And then they can see it through the eyes of a buyer of like, you know, it's not just a few photos embedded into a, sheeted paper market analysis or a presentation. I'm actually like walking through and like having conversations with them as if they were in person. And what I do to prepare for this is really, I've done the market analysis and I've sat down on my notebook. I didn't bring my notebook back in here. I've done it on my notebook and already went ahead and made those adjustments. So when I'm reviewing with them, I'm notating, I adjusted it for this, I adjusted it for this, I adjusted it for this. So they see too, like those adjustments are being justified and they're seeing it for themselves that those adjustments are being justified versus just me telling them. I think one of the worst things you can ever do is tell a seller what their house is worth. I think the more that you show them and you get them to buy into it and they can see what their house is worth, just as you see what their house is worth, it's easier to lead them and guide them to truly what the value of their home is. And what I think video market analysis does, it honestly takes the emotion and the uck out of it and allows them to walk alongside you and understand things at a deeper level. So once I've done that market analysis, here's a template of what I send to my seller. I will embed within Loom, you can embed this. So it's just clickable. It's clickable within the email. When they click on that, I'm notified they've clicked on it. So I can see, that they've saw the market analysis, and then I break out the 3 prices just as I did in the video. An above market price is 1.3 plus. And then I tell them, what does an above market price look like? Could take us several weeks to sell. We may even have to do a price reduction at a later date and time. Market value, I believe on this house is 1.25. It's solid, it's competitive. I think that's going to generate us a lot of activity and lead to a sale within a couple of weeks. Below market is anything below 1.2. That's strategic. One thing I didn't do in this video, but sometimes what I'll do is I'll actually take them when we're close to those incremental price points. I'll take them to realtor.com and Zillow and show them you're at one of those incremental price points and how the computer is going to find you. Let's list right at it. Because if you list right above or you list right below, you're actually missing out on a huge buyer pool. Where if you list right at 400, you're going to show up to people looking 350 to 400 and then 400 to 500. That's important. At the end of the day, I always say 2 things to sellers. People are going to make or break their decision to come see you based upon your photos, and strategically pricing you is everything. And we need to make sure that you're showing up where the computer is going to find you so you're not missed out on. And then I always recommend, unless it's a certain situation, these people I told, you need to list it at market value. We don't need to overprice a luxury home. It'll sit on the market and will potentially sell for 2 to 3% less. And then I say, here's our next steps. So like at this point in time of the listing appointment, I didn't have photos and everything set up. But if I knew I was going, or I've already spoken to my photographer, this is where I'd plug in. This is when we're taking photos. This is when we're going live. This is when your sign and lock box will be installed. Just let me know your price. And it helps move them along in the process really, really quickly, which is beautiful. And very rarely do I have people come back and say, I want to list at 1.4 or I want to list at 1.5, because they've already seen the market as it is. And I don't have that like resistance or rebuttal against me like I did before. And it's easy. I think anytime we can simplify our process, it makes working with us easier, and it makes communicating and giving the seller confidence to work with us. It raises that confidence level up, because when they watch this video, like they're seeing what the insides of other homes look like, and they hear my candor and what are we up against? And they start to look at those other houses like, oh, well, that house is not a bad deal for all that it offers. And when I have a break between the listing appointment and when we actually go live, like I've sent them 1 or 2 more of these of saying like, hey, this house popped up on the market. Here's what it looks like. And I give them like a little tour of it. Where before I was busy, I would call them and say, hey, I'm free in 30 minutes. Can you go take a look at this listing that just popped up on the market? Because it's going to be a competitor of ours. Let's take a look at it and see how we're going to stack up against it to make sure that we're priced properly and competitively against that house. I used to do that, but as I've scaled my business, I can't go pop in every single listing, but I can take 5 minutes and record a listing that just came on the market and send it to my sellers and say, hey, we have some stiff competition that just hit the market. We need to make sure we're priced efficiently. On the upcoming slides, here is a QR code that you can scan that will give you a template of what my follow-up email looks like. So I'm going to give you guys a second to scan that. But if you want to duplicate my follow-up email, by all means. Loom is the system I use to create all my videos in. Again, it's LOOM. You can see and know how many times your seller has actually viewed that video. That's a beautiful thing. So if they've viewed it and I haven't heard from them, I promise you either later that day or the first thing the next morning, like I'm following up to them to say, hey, I saw you viewed the market analysis. Do you have any questions I can answer? And I just am a true believer in the less break you can have in moving them forward, it's a lot easier to move them forward. Awesome. I've done video, but just standard. Let me look at some of y'all's things. Okay, is there background noise? In that video, there was, because I was out and about and busy. Great idea to use. Much better. I've done a video, but just standard, but I love this. This is fabulous. Can we get the email template? Here's your email template. So there's the email template. One other thing I wanted to share with you is the seller net sheet. I have two seller net sheets. I have this one that has already plugged in it, the above market price, the at market price, the below market price. I plug in whatever listing agent compensation that we've talked about when I was on the listing appointment. I go ahead and plug that in there. Our deed prep locally is $500, revenue stamps. You need to plug in whatever your cost of selling is. And then right now I'm plugging in like 2.5 on the selling side. But I send this again in the attachment to the email. I reference it in the email template, but then I send it as an attachment to the email. And if somebody's close on numbers, or if I know numbers are a thing, when I'm doing the video market analysis, I'll actually review this and I'll just pull it up and I'll say, this is what the above market price looks like. This is what the at market price looks like. This is what the below market price looks like. Like last week, I had 2 listing appointments that people had just bought in the last 2 years. One is in the negative. They can't sell right now. But the other, this was instrumental that I reviewed this with them because I showed them above market price, we're probably going to make $2,500. At market price, you're probably going to have to bring $1,500 to the closing table. Are you okay with that? So if I know that that situation is here with these sellers, this is going to be something that we actually review during that market analysis presentation on video. I send a net sheet as well whenever we get offers, whether it's multiple offers or my net sheet. It's another tab within this. I'm going to share a QR code for you guys to take this and duplicate it too. But I'll put current offer here and then suggested counter offers. And I'll show them what the suggested counter offers look like so we can move forward with confidence. This is elementary to maybe a lot of you, but as a newer agent, this is game changer. You need to be telling your sellers what they're going to be netting with every single offer that comes in and or what you're suggesting as a counter offer. One other thing I wanted to reference, I'm going to back up and go to that presentation here. Sending this in email and spelling out what above market looks like and market value looks like has allowed me to ask for price reductions much easier. Because if they wanted to list at 1.3 and we've been on the market for a month or 2 months at this price point and we're not moving, I'm going to go back to them and say, remember, when I did my market analysis, you chose to list at the above market price. It's time for us to do a price reduction. And I honestly would say 9 times out of 10, that's not even happening anymore. They're contacting me because I've already told them what it's going to look like in my presentation of the market analysis on the video. And they look back at this. They look back and can see, what did she really tell me to list it at? And they'll say, well, they'll call me or text me and say, okay, we're ready just to get it to the market value like you told us to. So it's kept me from having to go back and have those conversations with my sellers and made it be a little bit more of like a proactive, we're working together as a team. This is what our game plan is. Or honestly, when they message me and say, I want to list above market, I'll be like, okay, we'll give it 2 weeks and then we're going to move it to the market price. And they'll say, okay. What I've learned the hard way is when I first started doing listings, I would just say, let's list it at 1.25. Or I was a weaker agent and say, let's try it at 1.3. I don't do those games anymore. You're going to emotionally exhaust yourself if you don't set the right standards from the get-go. And when you do your video market analysis, this needs to be part of it. It's one thing to tell them, it's another to show them, and it's a third to show them what it really looks like. So in my video, I've already told them above market, market, below market. I'm showing them in an email, what does above market, what's it really going to look like for you? What's market value going to look like? And what's below market value going to look like? And then third, on the net sheet, they're seeing what it's going to do for them. That has made my life so much easier as a listing agent, especially now that we're transitioning into a market where we're having to do price reductions. I'm not having to go to my sellers a lot. They're coming to me and say, I'm ready. but I'm also communicating with him on a weekly basis. When I get off this call today, one of the first things I'm doing is touching base with all my sellers, giving them feedback that maybe they didn't get over the weekend showings, but also saying like, what are we doing to move you forward this week? Do we need to do a price reduction? Do you want to do an open house? What does the market look like? What else has been listed compared to yours? What else has maybe went pending compared to yours? How do we stack up against it? The more that you can keep them involved and educated, the easier your job as a listing agent will be. It's when we let them go silent and we're not communicating with them is when they get frustrated with you. They just want to hear from you. They want to know what's happening in the market. They want to know that you have a pulse on their listing. That is the mindset that you need to have. We went from a market where we would list a house and it would go pending within days to now we're in a market where we actually have to like service our sellers at a much higher level. And if you can just get it set up on your calendar to touch them Monday and Friday, I promise you, you're going to keep sellers. You're going to have a lot happier sellers. They're going to be a lot more confident in you. And you're not going to have to go to them for price reductions. They're going to come to you for price reductions because you've communicated with them. What does the market look like? And it's no longer, well, you told me to list at this price. No, I showed you what was happening in the market. You chose to list at that price. Now it's time to do a price reduction. I don't get those "you told me so" anymore. Give them options. Allow them to select options that match their desire and drive and need to sell, and then keep them updated on what the market looks like. And it becomes very easy to be a listing agent, even in a market where it's shifting consistently. Here is a QR code to the A-Team seller net sheet as well. This one should show you, this QR code should show you the net sheet that I use when I send the listing, the market analysis to them, and the net sheet that also I send whenever we get an offer to. So it should show both of those so that you can use both of those. And if you have not been on previous ones, but you want your 20 connects a day, because this one I get questions about every day, here is your QR code to go to the 20 connects a day input sheet. If you're not hitting your goals, you should be doing 20 connects a day. A connect is a direct two-way conversation that you have with somebody looking to buy or sell a home. Which QR code's not working, Tracy?
The prior one. Can you bring it back? Maybe it's my phone. Sometimes that one. Yeah. No, I have that one.
The seller net sheet?
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
That one. You're welcome.
Okay.
I'll try it with my
Okay, it worked out.
Okay, good. Let's say if it didn't, I can text it to you. Any other questions you have? That is all I had for today. I wanted to leave it open for you guys if you had any questions, any ahas. What are you doing?
I have a question.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tracy.
No, please. Go ahead. No, Nisha, go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So you sent this video presentation where you went through all the numbers and everything and you set the pace. Now, when you go through the appointment, what exactly do you do? Like how long is your appointment and what are the facts that you check bases there?
I'll send you, are you in the private group, Nisha?
I'm not sure. I'm in part of so many groups. I'm new to EXP, by the way, so I'm not sure.
How are you? Welcome.
Thank you. I'm
gonna send you an invite on Facebook to the private group. One of the sessions was all about what the listing presentation was. And it takes me anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. But this whole listing masterclass is really diving deep from like the initial point of you deciding you want to take listings to generating listing business, to converting listing business, to the listing presentation itself. What does it look like? How long does it take? What do we convey? And I literally go slide by slide, just as I would in a listing consultation. So you'll see our full listing guide. And then that was just last week. And then this week was, okay, we did the listing presentation. What's next? How do we do the market analysis? All of our tools and all the videos of what it looks like to grow your listing business is in the private Facebook group. So if you're not in the private Facebook group, I would add it because you can have access to all the tools. And it should just be 6-week listing masterclass.
Awesome.
And if you're not in there, if you'll drop it in the chat, because you can go back and watch all the recordings too. And then I have like links directly to our listing guide. And I would just copy, when I was a new agent, the quickest way I grew was I just did what other rock stars were doing. I said, why am I trying to recreate the wheel? If it works for them, it'll work for me. I just need to do it consistently. So I just took, our listing guide is a combination of Tina Call's listing guide. Her team sells 700 houses a year. Our original listing guide, it's there in there too. And we update our listing guide, I would say once a quarter to have relevant numbers and also relative to like what's happening in the marketplace right now and what are things I need to convey. There's so much information. And that's really why I did the listing masterclass is because listings, Tracy, okay, I'm going to add you to the group too. I can add you, but if you go to Facebook, you can also search it. But if you're telling me you're not in there, I'm going to search you on Facebook and add you.
Sure. What's the name of the group though?
I think it's just 6-week listing masterclass.
Let me see. I think I'm part of it. Yeah. Joined.
6-week listing masterclass. It'll look like
200. Yeah. Right there. 227 members, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. But I put all the recordings in there. There's been other people share stuff in there. And it's just a great place for you to go back and just refresh yourself. And listings are everything. When I made the decision to focus on growing my listing business, my business changed. Listings are the foundation of your business. When I was a new agent, I started out working solely with buyers until I got my confidence level up to move to sellers. When I moved to sellers, I grew an actual business, a legitimate business that built a brand that allowed me to leverage to bring other people on. It's game changer. Listings will allow you to grow market share at a much higher rate than buyers will. And it just gives you what I consider like the foundation of your business. I always say like listings are your inventory. It would be like if you had a store and you didn't have inventory in the shelves, you wouldn't have anything to sell. Listings are leverage. That was like what they embedded in us 20 years ago. Listings are leverage. They allow you to leverage buyers. They allow you to leverage your marketing and your brand to attract other sellers to you. And they allow you to like leverage and grow your business to where like you need an admin, you need a buyer's agent because there's more, you have something to sell at all times, but also that needs nurtured with a system and process to make sure you don't lose them as well.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Let's see. I'm not sure. Okay. Yep. I'm going to add you. Anybody else? Any other ahas, things that you took away that you're going to implement in your business?
Thank you, Amber. You're awesome.
You're awesome too. Well, I hope you all go get lots of listings this week. We had like our biggest week ever last week. We went live with 8 new listings. This week we have, I think 2, we're working on 3. But right now is the time to go get listings. I'm telling you, there's lots of people that need to sell or want to sell. So just be bold and reach out to people and go get you some listings this week. Everybody have a great week.
Thank you, Amber. Quick question before you leave.
Yeah.
File sections, do we need to get extra access to it? It says this group doesn't have any files yet in that master. The file section of the listing masterclass.
They're down below. If you scroll down, you'll see, like if you scroll down, here's like a link to the seller guide.
Oh, okay.
I posted them directly on the page.
Sure.
Like our listing prep forms on there. Literally every tool we use from A to Z, I've posted on here for you.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. So just go down the rabbit hole today and look at all the things on there.
I'll do that. Yes.
Because there's lots of goodies on there.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Everybody have a fabulous week. Bye.